With AEW changing plans for CM Punk's debut and a status update on Adam Cole, this is Wrestling Hub. My name is John and you're watching the Wrestling Report for August 25th. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Back in 2000, Kurt Angle was a part of a love triangle story with Stephanie McMahon and Triple H, revealing on his podcast how he felt kissing Stephanie in front of Vince McMahon. It was so nerve-wracking. Not only that, the director was Vince. He was 3 feet away in a chair. I'm kissing Vince's daughter right in front of him. Of course, I didn't want to slip her the tongue. I didn't know what to do. I was so nervous about it because Vince is just standing there looking, and he's wide-eyed like, I want to see this. I was like, holy crap, this is so weird. It was a great moment for me because it did so much for me, but it was really uncomfortable. What happens when we go off the air? Stephanie says, Kurt, you kiss like a fish. And I said, Stephanie, what the hell do you want me to do? Your dad is watching us. This week on Raw, Karrion Kross was seen with a new look as many fans took exception to this. Former WWE referee Jimmy Korderas dragged the idea of Kross needing a character change, saying this on his Ref and Rant. I'm waiting for the reinvention and I'm waiting to see that old Karrion Kross that we saw on NXT with that great entrance, and what do we get? Oh, Maximus, we get Gladiator. It could have been Russell Crowe. I get it, you're trying to cater to a different audience, you're trying to cater to kids and a general audience, but at the same time you can't insult your diehard audience who knows that Karrion Kross was this bad character on NXT. Bring it over, you can bridge that gap. You can carry it over and it will work. I just don't know why they went this way. While many were up in arms over his new attire, Kross was able to find success picking up a win on Raw. After spending 2 decades in WWE, Paul White is now a member of the AEW roster, where he has been serving as a commentator and is now set to compete in the ring at the All Out pay-per-view. Talking to Chris Van Vliet, White touched on being forced to turn down acting roles while working for WWE. There were so many projects I couldn't do because of the WWE schedule. When I first signed with WWE, Nick Cage was trying to hook me up with this Russell Crowe movie, but it was being shot in Spain. I would have been in Spain for 6 weeks for it, but I'm thinking Russell Crowe is going to be a big star. Nick Cage wants me. I've got it. I gotta ask Vince, and he says, I'm paying you to be a wrestler, not an actor. There wasn't as much crossover in the wrestling business then. For a while, WWE was very against wrestlers crossing over into movies. Then eventually they got into the program. White noted that he is very grateful to be working for AEW, as his first match for the promotion could see him debuting new ring gear. CM Punk had an incredible debut for AEW, making his return to pro wrestling on Rampage. Speaking of pro wrestling bits, Drew McIntyre was asked about this, with him responding, just anything that's good for wrestling. I'm all about it. I was outside the company 2014 to 17, working in the independents and with Impact, just trying to make wrestling a healthier, better place, and it's healthy right now. It's an incredible place. It helps that WWE is still at the top leading the charge, and anything that can make it better I'm all about. So yeah, if it makes a positive difference, it gets a thumbs up from me. With him defeating John Cena to retain his Universal title, Roman Reigns looks set to face Brock Lesnar. Talking to Sportico, he was asked if he ever thought about wrestling under a mask. While his brother did so in WWE, the tribal chief never considered it for himself. You know, and I think there's some traditions within the wrestling culture that come along with the mask wearing. You know, obviously our luchadors within Lucha Libre and the Mexican influence, with that style of pro wrestling all the way to our mythical characters, not necessarily an Undertaker, but a Kane and different, even superhero characters like my brother, and the Hurricane back in the day. So for me, it was just about presenting myself and making myself that star. Not necessarily the character, but finding that character within to be able to display that charisma and that personality that I wanted. When it comes to Ric Flair appearing alongside Andrade at Triple Mania, Charlotte revealed to Renee Paquette that this was her doing. So I took off and I was like, no, I wouldn't miss it for the world. And then with my dad being gone, I asked him on Wednesday, I was like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? He's like, nothing, honey, why? I'm like, you want to go to Mexico? He was like, for what? Cancun? Don't you have work? I'm like, no, Dad. I'm like, it's Manny versus Kenny. He's like, really? Yeah, I'd love to watch it with you. I'm like, no, Dad, will you walk Manny to the ring? He was like, you want me to walk Manny to the ring? And I'm like, yes. He's like, oh my God, yes, honey, please. fans, like so excited. Following his WWE release, which he requested, Ric Flair is not under a non-compete clause, with this leading to speculation that he could be heading to AEW. Adam Cole had his final match on NXT, losing a 2 out of 3 falls bout to Kyle O'Reilly at TakeOver 36. With him now being a free agent, many are wondering what is next for Cole. According to Fightful, Cole's extension is up on the 27th. Assuming there will be a 30-day non-compete clause as is standard for NXT contracts, he won't be making an appearance for AEW, at least not this week. We've learned more about the immediate future of Cole following his TakeOver 36 loss to O'Reilly. If you're hoping to see Cole pop up on this week's episode of AEW Dynamite or Rampage, that won't be happening. WWE is expected to offer a deal to Cole before the end of the week, so he could end up re-signing and heading to Raw or SmackDown. Conversely, AEW champion Kenny Omega recently put out a picture on Instagram of Cole, possibly hinting at his arrival in AEW. New Japan star Kenta last appeared for the promotion 1 month ago in a battle royal. With him going on Instagram, he revealed he's been suffering from COVID-19. I got COVID in the last few weeks. First of all, I apologize to everyone who had to change plans because of me. Fortunately, my symptoms were not too bad, just had a fever for a few days and lost my smell. But now I'm totally fine and got a negative test. Stay safe and healthy, everyone. New Japan's next major event will be in the MetLife Dome on the 4th and 5th of next month, so we'll have to see if he can make a comeback by then. Talking about CM Punk's AEW debut, Tony Schiavone noted on his podcast that AEW President Tony Khan's original plan included Schiavone introducing Punk. In the end, it was decided that was not needed. We have our meetings the day before, and our meetings are usually on the telephone now. We used to meet in person, we don't anymore. And even though most of us, almost everybody, you either have had your vaccine or you've tested negatively, we still it's become a thing just to do it on the phone. Tony Khan read over the format, and the format had special guest, and Tony referred to him as a special guest. True to form, Tony did not say CM Punk's name at all. And then he contacted me later in the night, and via text he said, "Listen, I'm thinking that I'm going to have you introduce him." He said, "I think that's what I'm going to do." I said I'd be honored. I said, "But we need to talk about what I'm going to say, because what I'm going to say should be minimal. I don't need to go on some big thing." And he said okay. So we got to the building, my name was on the format, Tony Schiavone introduced his special guest. CM Punk arrived, I was told he was in this room. The room, by the way, was marked a special guest. So he arrives, and he has a couple of people with him. One's an old ECW guy, Lou Dangerously, and there was someone else, and I know he has wrestled before, he's a friend of his. Sat there and talked to him, and Khan came in, and we all three sat and talked, and it was decided, and I really think rightfully so, even though I really wanted to be a part of this, that he would come out on his own. Punk said, "Listen, I want you to interview me. We'll do it on Dynamite. I want you to hold the microphone. I don't want to jerk it out of your hands like people have done." And I said okay. So that apparently is going to, as this thing drops, going to air tonight. Me talking to him in Milwaukee. While it was shocking to see Brock Lesnar make his WWE return at SummerSlam, what was even more surprising was seeing his new hairdo. Talking about this on The Bump, Matt Riddle threw some shade at the Beast. I'll say this, don't want to talk too much trash. I know that's not like me, but I don't want to talk too much trash. Brock or Bill, both are premium competitors. We won't say Stallion. Brock, I'm gonna call him Mr. Beast, because that's what was on the door in the back. I was like, who the hell is Mr. Beast? I'm pretty sure that's Brock. But Mr. Beast came back, Mr. Beast came down to the ring, and Mr. Beast did his thing. I'm not a huge fan of Mr. Beast's man bun. Evan Max says people like Brock's man bun, to which Riddle replies, "I'm not everybody, but hey, I'm a fan of his work. I'm a fan of his caliber of athleticism. I'm a fan of that, so good for him." With Riddle saying he wanted to retire Lesnar when he was on NXT, and Brock saying that he would never work together with him, this certainly remains a dream match for fans. With him still under a WWE non-compete clause till October 29th, Bray Wyatt could have another promotion vying for him, as Dave Meltzer noted Impact wants to bring him on board. While no formal talks can begin at this time, it'll be interesting to see where Wyatt goes once he is able to sign a contract. AEW will be hosting Full Gear on November 6th, with that serving as an ideal place for Wyatt to debut. And that was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.